What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. You know when the hair is down, shit's about to get real. There's no clickbait in this video. If you want the too long, didn't read version of this video, the reason why you've not seen any weightlifting, I found out I have a hernia that might require surgery. An inguinal hernia, it looks like that's what's going on. And that's not great news, but you know what? I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. Let me give you the timeline of what's going on, what lies in the future, and what I plan on doing. So in the first place, to catch up to speed, I was doing strength training for quite a few years. I made some solid progress. I had a 585 deadlift in 2014. I had a 500-pound squat, and then I had a 350-pound bench press. I decided in early 2015, after getting an SI injury from a little bit of powerlifting, to make the transition in weightlifting. It's something I always wanted to try. However, that SI injury in the back kept re-aggravating itself, so it took me about 18 months to really get over it. And so in that time period, I was attempting to learn weightlifting. I got some good coaches, but through years of lifting a certain way, my flexibility and mobility weren't really there. That's fine. I didn't really notice anything too odd besides it being uncomfortable getting in certain positions. Then in 2017, I decided to make the transition back to powerlifting because I had a few goals in my head that were nagging. I still wanted to get a 600-pound deadlift. I knew if I didn't get that, I would not be happy. The same idea with improving my bench press. So I shifted gears a little bit, and I shifted gears for a few reasons. In the first place, as I've mentioned before, and those that watch my video will know, I was having a little bit of groin issues. And this first came about when I was doing some weightlifting, again, because I don't have the flexibility and mobility, and I'm not trying to blame anything, I'm just trying to explain what I think happened here. I would go with a wider stance when I would catch the clean. And so I would get some groin pain. And then when I do the jerk, the same idea. What was odd at the time, and I didn't think anything of it, and now upon reflection it kind of makes more sense, when you make contact with the bar, when you do the snatch, when you do the clean, it makes contact at some point on your body. On the snatch, it's a little bit higher up. So let's say it's above your pubic bone. Well, around the hip area on both sides, it would get tender. And I thought that was just contact. But when I would catch it clean, I would notice when I would go heavier that I'd get pain when I was in that deep bottom position. Now, I know that's the inguinal area. And so I thought to myself, this is just, obviously part of weightlifting. I'm learning. I'm a rookie. These things happen. Let me continue. But I think obviously it has something to do with that technique and maybe it not being sound on my part, or maybe also I found out too that when it comes to hernias, there's definitely a genetic component. And my brother, interestingly enough, who's a year older than me, he doesn't do any deadlifts or squats or anything, but he is very athletic. He actually had a sports hernia in the very similar area that I now have one myself. So genetics could be a factor. I'm not trying to, once again, blame anything. I made that transition back in 2017 because I'm like, you know what? Well, I now have the time and the opportunity and I feel strong. Let me get back into powerlifting. Let me just hit those numbers. So I hit those numbers. I hit the 600-pound deadlift. It felt great. Nothing felt terrible. My groin when I was squatting on the right side still was irritating me a little bit, but nothing that I thought was out of the ordinary. In 2018, when I began the lean mass phase, I was at the strongest I'd ever been. I was squatting regularly in the 400s. I could deadlift 500 some pounds for multiple reps. I could bench press 315, I think, for 5 repetitions. Things were going great. Things were in the right direction. This is just maybe 7 months ago, besides that minor groin issue. From there, I started incorporating back some weightlifting, and so I started doing some light snatches, some light cleans, and that's when I started feeling, once again, kind of that area when I would attempt to catch at the very bottom position, the snatch or the clean, kind of that hip area. And I thought, maybe this has something to do with the obliques, maybe it has something to do with the hip flexor, maybe I'm just tight, whatever. And then from there, I started doing it quietly because I know I've made many promises about how I plan on competing. I just wanted to do it undercover, and then when it was ready, showtime for me to compete, I would do that, and then I would post the video. So I kept it under wraps. At the same time, I started playing some soccer again because I just wanted to be a little bit more active. I wanted to do my thing. I wanted to be athletic. And one time when I was playing soccer, actually, I found out I do not have the same skill I used to have. And your boy used to have some skill where I made a turn, I tried to stop the ball, and I pulled something in my groin, and I felt the pain shoot up the groin into kind of my abdominal area. What's probably now known as a sports hernia probably is what I got right there. And that's different than a regular hernia. So I essentially pulled something in that tender area. And so I try to get over it. I try to work around it. I dial back the lifting in terms of the intensity when it comes to the squat and the deadlift. I also temporarily put on hold weightlifting, and it seemed like it was doing okay, but it wasn't getting better. And so months passed by, and that's why I think since March you haven't seen, or April maybe, you haven't seen any really heavy squats or heavy deadlifts, because I've been nursing this. I've been trying to make it better, but it wasn't getting any better. And then in fact it was getting kind of worse. Fast forward a few weeks ago, and I was doing the leg press. I was doing nothing crazy, and then all of a sudden I remember feeling, it wasn't an acute pain, but I remember kind of in that inguinal area, so inside the hip, towards the top, more towards the abdomen, I felt something. I'm like, oh, that feels a little bit weird. And I wasn't bracing hard. It wasn't also a lot of weight. So again, from suffering a lot of different things, like having that SI issue where I thought, wow, I can't get out of bed, this sucks, I thought to myself, this is nothing. And in fact, I misdiagnosed this, where because I was feeling things in that right area after that sports hernia, that was kind of in the area that your appendix is. I thought maybe I might have appendicitis, because, you know, this is bizarre. Of course I don't have a hernia. It never, crossed my mind. And so I went to the doctor, I got an ultrasound, I did all that, and I'm not insulting Canadian healthcare. In fact, I like it a lot. Everything just takes a little bit of time, so I'd book an appointment, then it would be about a week and a half when I get the ultrasound, another week and a half where I get the results. So it's a process. I'm trying to work through things. It turned out I didn't have appendicitis, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And then, like I said, several weeks ago when I was doing the leg press, something felt a little bit different there, and at the same time I became a little bit sick, where I was coughing a lot, and when I was coughing, I'd feel the pain in that area, and I thought to myself, okay, this is a little bit different now, let me check this out. So I booked in with my doctor, and my doctor performed the test for the hernia, just feeling out that area, and when I coughed and I was lying flat on my back, when I would cough, what would happen, there would be a protrusion in that area. And I'm not trying to be dramatic here where it's like, oh my god, look, you got a hernia, what are you going to do? I still need to get the ultrasound to confirm the severity of this hernia, but it definitely seems like I have either an inguinal hernia or it's a sports hernia that's a little bit more complicated. But something happened. I don't quite know the series of events, because like I said, there was no one acute instance when it happened. I wasn't lifting super heavy. I wasn't improperly bracing. There probably is that genetic component where my older brother did have a sports hernia in the same area, and he doesn't even lift. Not to insult the guy, but he doesn't do any squats or he doesn't do any deadlifts. So there is that genetic component. But now I'm faced with the question, what to do? And that's why this whole process of the weightlifting, which I really did want to compete in, has been sidelined. And also now that I found out that it's very likely, it's incredibly likely that it is an inguinal hernia, it probably will require surgery, and also that means that squats and deadlifts are off the menu. And this bummed me out. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk once again, but this bummed me out because I want to hit new PRs. In fact, at the start of this year, I have felt the strongest I've ever felt. Things were really clicking. As such, I've adjusted my training. I will continue to adjust my training. I'm fortunate with the amount of connections that I have. I've actually reached out to Jordan Shallow, who's coming back up to Toronto in October. Also through Eric Helms, I'm going to reach out to Quinn Hennock to get some insight into that, and several other people. I'm fortunate who I have, who I can rely upon to get some educated knowledge of what's the best course of action. But again, when I first found out about this, and I've been waiting to make this video just confirming a few things because I don't want to jump into anything without me knowing all the facts, I was disappointed because I'm like, oh man, I did have these big goals, but now I'm looking towards the solution. It's been far too long this year of me trying to figure out what's been going on, and actually will be a relief to know what is the case, what has happened, and then what I can do about it. So if anything, it's slightly empowering knowing that maybe I'm in the right direction of figuring out what the problem is so I could get the solution. I thought I'd make this video because some people have been asking, hey Omar, what's going on with the weightlifting? Or just more the heavy lifting, and that's why you guys haven't seen it on the channel recently. I will work around this. I will still continue to train, and that's why if it does require surgery, I'm going to take my time to figure out what the best course of action is, because your boy is not going to be able to lift for a little bit after that, and I'm currently in a lean mass phase. So all these things I'm currently figuring out. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, but like I said, you have to be proactive and you have to look at the reality of things. What can I do about this? How can I improve, and how can I move forward? So really, now that I know what's going on, I do have some workarounds. I can continue to train in a more effective way. That's all I really want to say when it comes to this video. I want to thank everyone for the support throughout the years, and right now in particular as I make this transition. I used to joke about being a professional toner. Well, shit, now it seems like I actually will be a toner, at least for the next little bit, but you best believe I'm going to come back stronger than ever before. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, you're going to like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.